Welcome to yet another episode of Politically Correct with our national political editor DK Singh. The question that we are taking today is whether Congress is justified in criticizing the Modi government over the Indo-China standoff. Over the past few days, we have witnessed Twitter wars, statements have been issued. So let's try and understand from DK Singh.
Look, when it comes to the main question, whether the Congress is justified in asking questions about Indo-China tensions.
Right.
We'll come to the subtext to it later. But coming to the main question, yes, the Congress is justified. As I have said in previous episodes of the Politically Correct also, it's the opposition's job to ask questions, to seek accountability from the government. And the questions that the Congress is asking are not wrong. I mean, at the all-party meeting, what were the questions Sonia Gandhi asked? Her question was, when did the government come to know about the Chinese incursions? What happened on the 5th of May we came to know? Then there was a question about, whether you keep getting satellite images of the border regularly. Did you get that? Were there intelligence failures? What were our external intelligence agencies doing? Did they give you the right feedback? These are all valid questions. There is no doubt about it. Well, as many of our columnists, many retired lieutenant generals, they have been writing for ThePrint. If you have been reading them, their argument is fine. You may have a lot of questions, but this is not the right time to raise those questions because it will affect the morale of the army.
So the timing you're saying?
Yes. So the question of timing, like this is not the time to ask questions. They may be right, but let's not forget the fact that the government is somehow equally responsible here. Now, as we all know, the incursions started somewhere in April. There were questions from the opposition parties about the situation on the line of control, or line of actual control. The entire May, the government kept silent. On 6th of June, our corps commander has a meeting with the Chinese counterpart, where there was some sort of agreement over this engagement from Galwan Valley. No statement from the government. So only after 20 of our soldiers died, that there was a kind of concerted attack on the government from the opposition side, and the government was forced to respond. But why was the government keeping the country in the dark? Nobody is asking you to give out your strategic interest there, or how you are going to deal with it. But the fact that the Chinese have been, the People's Liberation Army has been pushing it, coming across the line of actual control, you can just tell the country, assure the country that, well, this is happening and we are going to deal with it. So at least take the country into confidence. Take the opposition into confidence. So the government was equally responsible for all the mess. Yes, timing of, just to repeat, the timing of the opposition's questions may leave some scope of doubt about their politics. But then somehow you have to hold the government responsible for this. What happened? Even when you had this all-party meeting convened by the Prime Minister, that remark that there is no intruder in Ladakh.
In the country, yeah, in the territory.
In our territory. That turned out to be a misleading statement, all of us know, and till now the government has been trying to salvage the damage. So first thing was the necessity for the government to take everybody into confidence. Tell the people, well, we are facing a situation at the LSC and we are dealing with it. Now coming to the subtext, if you're asking me, is the Congress playing politics? Yes, it is. Of course it is playing politics. And we have been writing about it, everybody talks about it, you should not play politics over national security. But we have seen it happening all along. I mean, right from your 2016 surgical strike, when we actually demolished terror camp across the LOC. Now you saw, all BJP leaders talking about it.
Right.
In fact, right after that, there was this Vijayadashmi rally in Lucknow, which the Prime Minister had addressed. He did not mention surgical strike. But if you recall, he was talking about, Jatayu, that mythical bird, which had actually fought with Ravana while he was abducting Sita, how Jatayu was the first to fight against terrorists. And half of his speech was devoted to terrorism. It was clear politics over terrorism. Congress was doing the same. Congress was questioning. Congress was seeking evidence from the government. So not that it's happening for the first time. We saw it after Balakot air strikes also. Many opposition leaders were asking questions. Even Mamata Banerjee, he was saying, okay, everybody is claiming 300 terrorists have been killed. Where is the evidence?
Correct.
Did we strike them at the place where we were supposed to? There were many questions from many of the opposition leaders. And then the counter from the BJP again, that all these questions basically show your anti-nationalist mentality and mindset and all that. So you cannot wish it away. Politics is happening.
You must have seen the statement of former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Even today during the CWC meeting, his statement has been posted on Twitter by the Congress. Why is this, why is Manmohan Singh being projected by the Congress at this juncture?
Again, there are two aspects. First is what Manmohan Singh is trying to do, or what the Congress is trying to do. They are actually attacking the Prime Minister's image, Narendra Modi as a strong and decisive leader. That has been the USP of the Prime Minister. So if you look at the Manmohan Singh's first statement that he issued yesterday, even there he is saying that disinformation is not or cannot be a substitute for diplomacy.
Yes.
And a strong leadership. Sonia Gandhi has repeated the same at the Congress Working Committee meeting today. So the Congress is seeing a chance where it could probably puncture that image, the image of a strong and decisive leader, because that has been the strongest point of Narendra Modi, that he is decisive, strong, unlike Dr. Manmohan Singh, who was projected by the then opposition, the BJP, as a very weak Prime Minister. So given the tension at the LSC, the Congress probably thinks that the government under Narendra Modi is wilting, it's not able to deal with the crisis, and probably it's the right time for them to attack his leadership. So that's the first aspect, why Dr. Manmohan Singh did what he did. The second aspect of this question is, why Dr. Manmohan Singh? Now you have heard Rahul Gandhi, while we are talking about the timing of the opposition's questions. The fact is, there is nothing wrong with the questions, but the way these questions are being put. If you look at Rahul Gandhi's statements, he is saying Narendra Modi is Surrender Modi.
Right.
Then you have Chhattisgarh Congress starting this hashtag, as you reported yesterday, that is Chaukidar Chinese hai.
Right.
Now this is all in bad taste. It's petty. You cannot talk about this like this. And Rahul Gandhi probably has not learnt his lessons. After the surgical strikes, if I recall it right, I think in UP or somewhere he has said that, Narendra Modi, what was that? It was like Modi has the soldiers' blood on his hands. और वो खून की दलाली कर रहे हैं. You cannot talk like that about your Prime Minister. And that's why it backfired for the Congress in the UP elections also, because then the Congress was having an alliance with the Samajwadi Party in the 2017 assembly elections, and the entire election was dominated by the issue of surgical strikes. And this kind of language actually backfired. Today, when the government is obviously on the back foot, and there are valid questions to be asked from the government, the kind of language Rahul Gandhi is using, I would say it's intemperate and does not behove a senior leader of the Congress party. And that's probably why the Congress has filtered Dr. Manmohan Singh, who still has the moral authority and the gravitas to convince the people of what is happening on the ground, or convince the people of the necessity of the questions.
But do you think the Congress politics will work?
Politics over national security.
Yes.
I say Congress sees a chance this time, because it did not work when surgical strikes happened. Even then, Congress was questioning. It did not work when Balakot strikes happened. It did not work then.
Yes.
Balakot air strikes actually, post Pulwama. Whether it will work this time depends. Now, only yesterday the Corps Commander level meeting happened, when our Corps Commander met his Chinese counterparts across the line of control, actually, on the Chinese side, at a place called Moldo. Now, what we are told that there has been a consensus on disengagement.
Right.
Of course, there is no fixed time frame for that, or at least we are not told about this. But if that disengagement happens, not just from Galwan, but also from, say, Pangong So Lake, where the Chinese, basically the PLA has intruded about 8 kilometers into our area. And from Hot Springs. Now, if the total disengagement happens, then the opposition will lose it again, because then the BJP will have this thing to project, that they were able to repel the Chinese army back. So it's just the beginning. Let's see how it unfolds. But if this consensus that the corps commanders have reached, if that is followed through, if that is implemented, I think the Congress may not have many things to talk about after a while. I mean, after a point of time.
We're getting a lot of questions, so we'll start with some of them. Shashank wants to know, would it affect Congress's position in any way in the upcoming state elections? I believe he's talking about Bihar as well as the...
Well, in Bihar, I would say the Prime Minister has started bringing national security into politics in Bihar, because launching this scheme for the migrants in Bihar, he was talking about the valor of the Bihar regiment.
Correct.
Which fought the Chinese at Galwan. So he brought politics into it in Bihar. Opposition has, of course, lapped onto it. The RJD has talked about it. But I'm not sure, because right now the people are more actually worried about their lives and livelihood issues post-corona, in the midst of corona, than what happened at Galwan. Or so it seems so far. Let's see how the rhetoric, the political rhetoric builds up from both sides and how people respond. But as of now, it does not seem to be having much impact on the election campaign.
Sadanand Sudhir wants to know, do you think some of the questions asked by Rahul Gandhi were irrelevant in the context of the Indo-China issue?
Rahul Gandhi, when you talk about Rahul Gandhi, yes, not irrelevant, I would say, but the way he put these questions, they were very abrasive. I'll talk about the questions put by the Congress, whether it's Dr. Manmohan Singhs or Sonia Gandhi or any senior Congress leaders. When they're questioning intelligence failure, when they're wanting to know what is happening, when did the government come to know about this? Why was this delay in responding? Where did we make the mistake? Or how are we trying to deal with it? These questions are valid. But yes, when it comes to Rahul Gandhi, you cannot be saying that why is the Prime Minister hiding?
Right. He's also posted a lot of tweets.
Yeah, and you cannot call him Surrender Modi, just to play on the word surrender.
Right.
It's calling him Surrender Modi. We are talking about the Prime Minister. So you have to be very decent, and, the way you present your questions to the Prime Minister, I mean, it should be kind of, more measured and much more respectful than the way you are trying to do it.
Another question by Kesav is, what is the line between doing the opposition's duty to showing solidarity as a nation during times of conflict?
No, there is no line drawn between this. I mean, the opposition has to show solidarity with the government in such times. When you are facing a crisis at the border, and opposition has to back the government. There is there is no question about it.
Even during the all-party meeting, most of the opposition said that,
all of them except the Congress. In fact, some suggestions were rather too loud, I would say, in the sense, Mamata Banerjee. Now, look how the opposition has also changed tactics. The regional leaders, at least. So while the Congress is targeting the government, the regional leaders have taken a different view. All of them are supporting the government.
The government.
Without any kind of preconditions attached to it. Now, Mamata Banerjee, for instance, the same Mamata Banerjee who was asking for evidence about Balakot airstrikes, it was totally with the government. She wants kind of economic measures or economic retribution against the Chinese. They should not be allowed into your aviation sector, infrastructure sector. They should not be allowed. Akhilesh Yadav is doing the same thing. Akhilesh Yadav is saying, you should be taking, apart from your strategic military action, you should be taking economic action against them. Basically, they're talking about this trade deficit that we have with China. And how you have been hearing your Ashwini Mahajan, your Swadeshi Jagran Manch co-convener, He has been talking about how you have to boycott Chinese goods. They are extremes and they don't really work. Very impractical talks actually. But then regional parties are joining them in these talks. Boycott Chinese goods, don't engage with them economically. On the other hand, you have the Congress which is going full blast, targeting the government. So let's see, the regional parties have got their lessons because they did not really get the kind of political dividend they were expecting by targeting the government over surgical strikes or Balakot air strikes, or questioning the government then. They have learned their lessons. They have decided to kind of back off on that and stay with the government. And if something goes wrong, of course the BJP will pay for this.
So Pradyumna wants to know, do you think it is a vicious circle as Modi blames Nehru for 1962 and now Congress is paying its debt?
I don't know, the context of 1962 is quite different, and we have seen many, in fact many historians and many experts, defense experts, they have been talking about 62 and now, how we trusted the Chinese leadership then, how Narendra Modi trusted the Chinese leadership now. You have heard how Modi had 18 meetings with Xi Jinping,
right,
since he became the prime minister. And then they are comparing, when Nehru had gone to China or when Jawaharlal had come to India, the celebrations at both sides, which were witnessed then, and how actually Nehru fell into a trap by the Chinese. The similar allegations are being made by the Congress this time. But see, what about it did not work here? And we have to look at what is happening today. Now, going into the history to indulge in a blame game is not the right approach right now.
Abhishek wants to know, is the Congress getting weaker and weaker after wrong accusations of Rahul Gandhi on facts carrying weapons on LAC?
We don't know about that yet. Of course, our External Affairs Minister clarified that they did carry arms, but there are many questions about this. Now, if they were carrying arms, there were such violent clashes that 20 Indian soldiers died, 85 of them got injured. And from the Chinese side, as some reports claim, or we don't have any official verification from the government of India, but if 43 Chinese soldiers also died. Of course, we would not come to know because China would never give you the numbers.
Yes.
But point is, if the clashes were so violent and they were carrying arms also, how come they were never used? But there are questions, but we'll go by the official statement by the External Affairs Minister, who has said that they were carrying arms.
Another question by Urvesh is, why is Congress criticizing the government while the other opposition parties like TMC, NCP are supporting the government in this entire issue? Something which you just answered.
I just responded because they have seen how on the issue of national security, the BJP has always had, or BJP has always been able to set the narrative. You may question their penchant for dubbing everybody who is questioning as anti-national, or I think one of the BJP spokespersons also dubbed Rahul as traitor Gandhi.
Right.
So they use this language to deter people from questioning. But the fact also is the opposition has been committing blunders all the way. As I said, after surgical strikes, when the entire nation was celebrating, you had opposition leaders questioning and asking for evidence. After Balakot air strikes, when the entire nation was thinking that, okay, the lives, our soldiers' lives which were lost because of the terror attack in Pulwama, they had been kind of avenged. When the entire nation is in different mood, you are asking for evidence, you are asking questions. So the opposition strategy was wrong then, and they paid the price for this. That's why today, even when they have some valid questions this time, they are not ready to come out openly and ask those questions.
Sagnik also wants to know something similar, but he's saying, do you think the Congress is becoming more left-leaning and digging their own grave?
Yeah, that's an issue, especially Rahul Gandhi, not the entire Congress. In fact, all through the 10 years of Dr. Manmohan Singhs regime, you would hear many Congress people cribbing about all these economic reforms. In fact, I remember one of the senior Congress leaders telling me that, Manmohan Singh is overestimated as an economist and underestimated as a politician. So that was the line, that okay, all these GDP numbers, these things don't work. And then you saw all these welfareist schemes from MNRGA to right to food and all these things happening those times. So yes, it is leftist. Even today, Rahul Gandhi's best friend, I would say, Sitaram Yechury of the CPIM. And the kind of things Rahul Gandhi talks about, does show that he has been deeply affected by, not exactly by the communist ideology, but the overall objective,
Even his core team, even those who, apparently like his
look at
speeches.
Rahul Gandhi's core team. And you have Sandeep Singh, who is now Priyanka Gandhi's PA. Now, same Sandeep Singh had shown black flag to Dr. Manmohan Singh when he was in Jawaharlal Nehru University here. But Rahul Gandhi picks him up and makes him his speech, not a speech writer, his Twitter writer actually. On Twitter, whatever messages you used to see, Sandeep Singh used to write. And now Sandeep Singh has picked many others from the former ISA leaders, All India Students Association, which is is the students wing of the CPIML. He's getting his old comrades into Rahul Gandhi's core team. So they're part of Rahul Gandhi's coterie. And that's why you saw many drastic or rather preposterous things in Congress Party's manifesto. Preposterous in terms of its political implications. So in 2019 manifesto, you saw the Congress demanding or basically promising to amend the Armed Forces Special Powers Act.
Correct.
Now, at a time when the entire country was talking about Balakot air strikes, you are saying you want to amend the AFSPA. Then they
Sedition also.
Then they promised to repeal sedition laws.
Yes.
Of course, the BJP jumped on this. It was a great opportunity for the ruling party, and it exploited it in the elections. But yes, the Congress did try to mend midway in the way it got Lieutenant General D.S. Huda, who was the Northern Army commander and under whose supervision surgical strikes were carried out.
Yes.
So Congress drafted him to prepare its one part of the manifesto on national security. So Congress did try to kind of recover the lost ground, but it was too late by then.
Another question is, can one argue by questioning Modi government's handling of Galwan issue, Congress is being patriotic?
Just by questioning, you do not become anti-national. I mean, it's your job in a democratic government. You have to ask questions from your government. Yes, you can ask the timing, you can ask the nature of the questions, and you can ask the way you ask, the way you put the questions. So nobody is questioning the value of the army. If somebody is asking about intelligence failure, it does not mean that he or she is not patriotic.
Prabhu wants to know, when one could question Congress government during the 26/11, what has changed in 2020 with regard to this Indo-China crisis and the Galwan Valley incident?
Yeah, he's right. I mean, the BJP, not just 26/11, in fact, in 2013 when you had these incursions and this Depsang crisis happened, Modi, who was the chief minister then, he was attacking the government like anything. They had very critical tweets about the government, how the government was weak, it was not able to handle. Similarly, after 26/11, you saw all these BJP leaders attacking the Congress. In fact, ThePrint did a story showing how when the Congress was in power and when the BJP was the opposition party pre-2014, every time there was a crisis, especially in matters of national security, BJP would attack the government very openly and virulently, and Congress should be kind of defending the government, and the Congress would also talk about in national security matters. We don't want to talk in public, this, that. There had been a role reversals in there since then. Now you see the BJP saying what the Congress was saying then, and the Congress doing what the BJP was doing then.
So it's a full circle.
Yeah.
Ritu wants to know, do you think the fact that Congress is attacking the army, it is tarnishing its image?
No, Congress is not attacking the army. I have not really seen any statement as yet by any Congress leader attacking the army. So I don't know if she has read something from some Congress leader which I am not aware of.
So one last question. The CWC is taking place today. What do you expect from it? The fact that the Congress is discussing right from the pandemic to the economic crisis, to the Indo-China issue. What exactly the Congress wants to sort of put the spotlight on through this CWC?
The same. It's just a continuation. You know about the Congress Working Committee. Congress Working Committee is actually the top decision-making body of the Congress. It has 25 senior members. And for the last 2 decades, you have not been any elections for the Congress Working Committee. So all the members of the committee are actually handpicked by the Congress President, Sonia Gandhi, and then Rahul Gandhi. So they just speak like a parrot what the leaders ask them to or what they are expected to. In fact, even before heading into the CWC meetings, what we know is the conclusion is already there. They know what the statement is going to be after discussions. So the discussions that happen there are all pre-planned. You know who is going to say what, and after that you have a statement coming, okay, CWC has decided this and that. So the CWC meeting per se is not that important.
But it's symbolic.
I know it's part of the strategy, you know, that the entire Congress is together, because in Congress you have always seen many discordant voices on many issues. Some senior leader would say something, some other leader will question it on many an occasion. Even on all these, last time when surgical strikes were happening, after post-surgical strikes, post-Balapur strikes, or on many issues, many young leaders have taken a different line. Last time, if I remember, Jyotiraj Scindia had taken a different line. You know, say Dipender Huda had taken a different line on Article 370. Jitin Prasad had taken a different line. So the aim is to, even before somebody starts questioning, you hold a CWC meeting, make it clear this is the party line and you follow it. That's one. And the second objective is to basically reinforce your message.
So we will keep you updated with what happens in the CWC meeting, but this is all for now. Thank you for watching.